Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about my top 10 rankings in the 2020/2021 fantasy basketball season, including compliments to those players. At number 10, we have NIKOLA JOKIC. Now, last year he averaged over 32 minutes a game, which is third among centers, which is really good. You want that when you're drafting throughout your draft, not just the first round. And he played 73 games last year. And another little tidbit is he's only had 60 days off. It's almost as bad as the Lakers slash the Heat in that regard, only 15 extra days. Now, even though he had 86 days off, believe it or not, the typical NBA season, the off season, usually lasts for about 110 days. So he was close to a full off season, but a little bit less. So I don't know if he may get some rest throughout the year, but I don't think he would. But just something to know. So first thing I'm going to go over is Jokic's strengths, which the number one thing he does that you should spot when you're looking over the stat line is his assist. He gets 6.8 assists, which is by far first among centers. He also gets 1.2 steals, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for centers, it's fourth among centers. Now, points is kind of an interesting one because, like, when you hear 20.5 points per game, that's 32nd in NBA. That's okay, like it's average, but it's fifth among centers, so that stat line is very misleading. So he's probably gonna outscore most centers in the league. Well, he will outscore most centers in the league. He just won't outscore players like Joel Embiid or Karl-ANTHONY Towns, players like that. Next up is rebounds. So he's getting 10.2 a game. At least he did last year. And now that number looks awesome, right? And it's 12th in the NBA, so how can it not be? The only problem with that is it's only 11th among centers, so 10.2 rebounds per game, it's good, but like he's not out rebounding anyone like against any other top center in the league or against any other opponent. That he's gonna kind of match up against your center. Next up, we have free throws, which if you look, I put 3.4/4.2, and that's free throws made and free throws attempted. And it's important to put that because if I just put his percentage, you might just be like, oh yeah, that's great, and move on. But volume's extremely important when it comes to fantasy basketball. Volume, like James Harden shooting free throws, when he shoots 10 a game, that's 40 a week. So if he makes like 35, 36 free throws out of 40, that's going to significantly improve your free throw percentage over someone like JJ Redick, who shoots about 90%, but he only shoots like 3 a game. So like he'll make out of 12 a week, maybe he'll make 10 or 11, and that's gonna help, but it's not game changing. So with Jokic, he shoots really well from the free throw line at 81.6%, which is fifth among centers, with over 3 free throw attempts per game. But it's not mind blowing. Next up is free throws made and free throws attempted. It's just the volume again, along with the percentage that Jokic makes. Now, across the centers, he is in the top 10 in volume. Like he's going to be shooting a lot of shots, and at a high rate. 53% is a very good rate, but it's only 13th at his position with other centers that shoot 8 or more field goals attempts per game. And I feel like that's important to know. Next up is he's average at 3-point shooting. Like he'll give you 1 a game, maybe even 2 every now and then. It's not bad. Like you'll take that from your center. That does so much more for you in other categories. And the reason why for me he's 10th is because for a center, 3.1 turnovers is a lot. Second worst at his position in the league. And his blocks are horrendous. Outside of top 50, and oh, I'm just shaking my head right now just thinking about that. Like, you need your center to have some blocks for you. Now, if you look over to the right, I put compliments, and in parentheses will be average draft position. These are guys that would blend really well with the first round pick that I'm talking about. Like right now, we're talking about Jokic. Oh my God, Jokic. And his strengths are free throw percentage, field goal percentage, points, assists, and steals. So you kind of want to go and find for your second round pick. You kind of want to blend your second round pick with your first round pick, and so that's what the list to the right is. So it's not just the second round picks either; it's throughout the draft, and it goes by ADP / how I value players. So like you have Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, both are going to be second / third round picks. Now you have Shea Gilchrist Alexander, who's probably going to be a fourth round pick. But the reason why I have Kawhi under him is because I think Kawhi is going to rest a lot this year. So I wouldn't draft him before the fourth round, and probably I don't even know if I would draft him then. He's just going to be so much of a headache, and he's going to waste so many waiver claims. Next up would be Chris Middleton, who actually his ADP is the same as Gilchrist Alexander's, and you're going to see that in this video. You're going to see same ADP because I'm not going to put like 39.2. I just don't want to. It's just a waste. You'll still get a general understanding and idea of where these players are going to be drafted in case you are like, oh, hey, that's a good idea. I do want to pair up Middleton with Jokic if that's the route I have to go. Or maybe you want to go with Jokic. And trying up the top part of the list would be DeRozan and Ricky Rubio. Now, in the later rounds, I would recommend going after Murray, who's probably going to be, his ADP is 96, but I've been seeing him go like 8th or 9th round. Then you have Horford, where he could really go anywhere based on the league, on who believes on him and who doesn't. Then you have Wendell Carter, who's barely getting drafted, and George Hill, who's not getting drafted. So if you have your draft and you don't draft George Hill, but he's in the free agent pool, he's a name to keep an eye out on. All right, next up we have Damian Lillard. Now, last year he averaged almost 37 minutes a game and played 66 games. Now, his last game played was August 29th, which was 150 days off, which is typical. It was like a typical off season for Lillard. Now, his strengths include points, which he was shooting. He was getting 29 points a game, which was 5th in the NBA. His assist at 7.8, which is 6th in the NBA. His three-pointers made, 3.9, which was 2nd in the NBA. And he was pretty good for a guard in rebounds, too, at 4.3, tied for 20th. Pretty average, but it helps. It does help. I would consider that more of a strength. And his last strength category would be free throws, where he shoots 89% at a high clip, like 6.8 / 7.9. It's 4th in the NBA in both attempts and makes, which is huge. That's a lot of volume you're going to get out of Lillard in that category. And now 88.7% is 7th in the NBA with 3 or more free throws attempted per game. So that doesn't, everything but rebounds, everything else I'm talking about isn't just point guards. It's the whole NBA. So those are all really, really good numbers and why he should be selected in the first round. Now, things he's average at that he's not going to necessarily hurt you in, but he's not always going to be that helpful in either, would be field goal percentage, which he shoots a lot. 5th and 6th in the NBA in terms of volume. And, he's just average at 45%. Like, I didn't put, like, a ranking on that because, like, I don't know how you'd be able to figure that one out. And his turnovers aren't going to kill you. They're actually pretty good for a first round pick at 2.9. But I mean, it's tied for 13th in the NBA. Outside the top 10, it's not even at 3. I like that. I personally like that. Now, his weaknesses are the defensive categories. Blocks, which I don't mind. Don't really care about that. I'm not looking for my point guard to have 2 blocks a game. That is just not um, something you should be looking for. But his steals could be better. He's very average at steals / weak at steals, like 30th in the NBA, tied for 30th in the NBA. That you want more. You want like 1.5 steals, and that's probably why if he falls to the second round, um, in your um, in your draft, that would probably be the reason why. Now, for compliments, the first one I have, you're probably gonna be like, whoa. Well, first one is LeBron James. Now his ADP is 5, but in my top 10, I don't have him in my first round, mainly because he's going to be 36 years old this season, and he's probably going to rest a lot. With only 71 days off, I don't want to be near that. He's a great player, and when he does play, he's going to put up good, probably great numbers, but I just don't want that headache, and I feel like it's more of a risk than a reward to take him in the first round this year. Next up, you have Kyrie Irving, whose ADP stands at 20. Now, it's going to be late round, second round / early third round pickup, maybe even late third round pickup. But he would be great to complement with Lilliard because they both get points, and Kyrie gets a good amount of assists. Kyrie shoots the ball a lot and has good percentages, which helps the free throws, and he'll even give you some rebounds as well. Next up, we have Bam, and he's at number 26. That's his ADP. It is number 26th overall. And with Bam, the reason why I have him on the list is he's not going to give you the most amount of points, but he's really good with assists for big men and rebounds. And his free throw percentage is better than average for a center. So he definitely belongs on this list. And if you're looking for someone to complement Lilliard, like if you're looking for a big, he might be the way to go. Next up would be Kawhi Leonard, who he's just like one of the best all around fantasy basketball players to pick up. But he just wants to rest when he wants to, and that's just a headache. And anyway, Kawhi helps in all those categories that Lilliard would help you in: points, assists, rebounds, threes, and free throws. Next up would be Zach LaVine at 48th overall. And the thing that I think about when I think of LaVine is he's going to score 25, get you 5 rebounds, and get you 5 assists. And he's going to get like 1.5 steals. And he's going to shoot well at the free throw line, like about 80%. It's about just almost everything that Lilliard does. Offhand, I can't think of how many threes LaVine makes per game, but I don't think I'd have him on here if he didn't make at least 2 threes a game. Next up would be his real life teammate, CJ McCollum, where you get him right in the 6th round, which he's kind of like Lilliard, but just less skilled Lilliard. I'll say that 5 times fast. He gets points, assists, rebounds, he shoots a lot of threes, and he shoots a good free throw percentage. And that's kind of just the way this is going to keep going. Like with Brogdon, same thing, except Brogdon's going to get you some steals along with that. CP3, now in the 5th, he's going to go in the 5th round, but I don't know what to expect from CP3 this year. It could be really good. He could be injured. He's getting up there in age, but you could definitely blend CP3 with Lilliard. Excuse me. I have to sneeze and it's just not coming out. All right, so next up is Fournier. He actually belongs in the later rounds. I missed him, so I'll talk about him in a sec. Let's see. You have Murray, who's going to go in about the 4th round, and Lou Williams in like the 9th round. All good pickups. All would really blend really well with Lilliard and enhance your categories in Lilliard's strengths. Now, I guess there's not really too much to talk about with Fournier because he's the same way, along with Dragic. Now, Love can be an interesting one because he plays kind of in terms of percentages his percentages are like a point guard's, low in field goal, relatively high in free throw. He's going to get you a good portion of rebounds. He's going to probably get you over 9 a game as long as the Cavs keep playing him. He's going to give you a decent amount of points. He's not going to help you in defensive categories just like Lilliard won't. Next up would be Duncan Robinson. Now I have him on the list because he makes a lot of threes and so does Lilliard. So you may want to pair up on threes, especially late in the draft if you haven't otherwise throughout your draft. And that goes for, let's see, Curry, Nunn, and Joe Harris, and probably Herter too. The only one who probably wouldn't necessarily go for it, even though he does shoot and make a lot of threes, would be Bertans, who can get you some rebounds on the side as well, along with good percentages. All right. At number 8, we have Trae Young, who played 35 minutes a game last year and played 60 games. Now, his last game played was on March 11th, which was approximately 9 months ago. He's had a long offseason. He's had a lot of time to improve his game, if he could even improve these numbers, and that's why he's on my list. He made such a jump from year 1 to year 2 that I see no reason why he can't do the same thing. Maybe not 10 points a game, but I don't see why he can't get above 30 points a game with this Hawks team. And I know everyone's talking about, oh, well, the Hawks loaded up. They're going to be really good, and that could happen. They could be really good. But you don't really see the top player get shots taken away from him. You usually see like the second or third guy get shots taken away from them to spread the ball around. And especially since Trae Young's the point guard, the offense will be run through him, and he is going to get his. Now, for Trae Young, his strengths are points, where he averaged over 29 a game last year, which was 4th in the NBA. 3-pointers made at 3.3, which was 8th in the NBA. 9.2 assists a game, which was second only to LeBron. And just like Lilliard, 4.3 rebounds a game, which was tied for 20th with point guards. So I still think that's still a strength in that regard, because he's going to at least get you some rebounds. And his last strength would be his free throws, which he shoots over 86%, which if you look at the volume, it's 2nd/3rd in the NBA. So you won't kind of want to look at attempts, which would be 3rd in the NBA at 9.3 attempts. But at 86%, he's going to drastically improve your free throws, which is another reason why I feel like he should be a first rounder this year. Overall, he's in free throw percentage. He is 8th in the entire NBA with players that shoot 5 or more free throws per game. Now he's like Lilliard in regards to steals. He only gets 1.1 a game. You want to see that number go up. You want to see him improve on that defensive category specifically. And if he does that, he could be he could be a top 5 player this year. He really can be. If he could do that, and if he can just shoot better from the floor, which is one of his weaknesses. Now, he shoots a lot, over almost 21 a game, which is 5th in the NBA. And when you're shooting that much and you're only at 43.6%, that's got to be a weakness. Hopefully, he can improve that a little bit, and he very well could. And if he does, he's going to be great this year. Now, his other 2 weaknesses I'm not too worried about. Like I said with Lilliard, I'm not worried about blocks. And 4.8 turnovers, that's really bad. It's an NBA worst. But if I get all this other good stuff from him and maybe improvements in his average/weak areas, I don't care how many times he turns the ball over. Now, his compliments would include Joel Embiid, which would be a really interesting matchup because for a center, Joel Embiid's field goal percentage isn't the best. It's like 48%, but same thing with Trae Young. He's going to significantly help your free throw percentage. And Embiid is also going to give you rebounds. He'll be decent at threes. He'll get you some assists. He'll give you those. He'll give you a good amount of blocks a game. I think like 1.7, which is pretty good. And he's going to score a lot of points. And under Doc Rivers, I'm thinking he's going to get back to what he was in 2019? 2019? 2 seasons ago, not last season, the year before that. So the 20 2018/2019 season, I guess. Next up would be DeAndre Ayton, which would be a 3rd or 4th round pick. Ayton was the 1st overall pick a few years back, and he improved well last year. He improved a lot, and I expect the same thing from him for this upcoming season. I don't see why he can't, and I also think Ayton's going to help in the points, in the rebounds. Maybe not the threes just yet. Maybe he'll help in the assist, but he shoots the ball well in field goal percentage and free throws. Like, he's not going to kill you. He's like 76% from free throws. So it's a good big to complement Trae Young. The next player up would be Devontae Graham, who's a lot like Trae Young. His field goal percentage is low. His free throw percentage is high. He gets you a lot of threes, gives you some assists, gives you some rebounds, and will get you in the high teens in points, maybe even the low 20s. I have Ricky Rubio on this list, which would probably be more of like a 9th round draft pick, maybe even later than that, because he's going to give you those assists and some steals to help out with Trae Young's average, which would be steals. Oh, and he's going to help in free throws significantly. So free throws and assists. I have Kyle Lowry on this list, which I meant to put higher, but I didn't. But anyway, he's like a 5th round pick. Same thing, just like Trae Young. Poor in field goal percentage, but good in free throws, threes, assists, get you some rebounds, pretty good in steals, and he'll get you a fair amount of points. Dinwiddie is on this list. Now, the thing with him is, I don't know what to expect from Brooklyn this year in his value. So I do have him on the list, but just be wary of that. And take him with like your last overall pick, because I don't know. His stock's definitely going to go down because KD's back, Kyrie's back. His usage rate is just going to go down. Next up on the list, I have this all messed up. Next up on the list is D'Angelo Russell, which would be about a 4th round pick, maybe 5th round pick. He's on the fastest paced team in Minnesota, which is going to bode well for him. I think he's going to put up great numbers this year. I think he'll average like 25 points, close to that. He's going to make a lot of threes. He's going to get you those assists, and he's going to give you good rebounds, just like for a normal point guard. He'll probably give you about the same amount of steals, like 1.2-ish, like Trae Young does. And what am I missing? His field goal percentage, I think that isn't that great, but his free throws are going to also help. And Bradley Beal, I expect him to have basically a lot of this year like he did last year. Maybe not as high of a usage rate now that Russell Westbrook's in there. I don't know how that's going to work, but he should still be a 2nd or 3rd round pick nonetheless. I don't think he'll hit 30 points again. I think that's like a career type of statistic for him, but I do think he'll be in the high 20s at least. In the later rounds, I would be targeting Kevin Love, Duncan Robinson, Bertans, Hardaway, JJ Redick, Luke Kennard, Joe Harris, and Kevin Huerter, which most of those guys are just to round out your threes. All right, next up we have the Greek Freak. Last year he played 33 minutes per game, and he played 63 games. The last game he played was September 8th, which was 104 days off, which is right about in the average of a regular off season. So he should be good for coming into this season. Now, the Greek Freaks, by the way, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm just going with Greek Freak. I've tried many times. It's just not happening. So his strengths are points, which is 4th in the NBA, 29.3, which is 4th in the NBA, 1st among forwards. Rebounds, which is 3rd in the NBA, 13 by the way, and which is also 1st among forwards. His assists are 5.8, which is okay. So his assists are 5.8, which is 28th in the NBA, but it's 2nd among forwards, which is a significant an underlying stat. That's one of the reasons why he's so valuable this year. I mean, and every year, because he does this every year. Next up would be blocks. 1.3 is very good for a forward, which is in the top 10 of forwards. And to round it all out would be his field goal percentage, which 55% is first among forwards that I saw. And it's a pretty good volume. Well, it's a very good volume at 19 shots per game, which is 21st in the NBA. All right. Now, his average category would be considered steals, which is at 1.2, which is tied 18th among forwards. Not great, not awful, just right in the middle. And to round it out, his weaknesses would consist of free throws, which his percentage is awful at 68.5%, and he shoots a lot of them at 9.8 attempts per game, which is 16th in the NBA. Oh, excuse me. So unless you're okay to punt free throws this season, then that's why I have him ranked 7th, by the way. I'm probably going to pass up on GIANNIS. You might want to go that route too. His other two weakness categories would be turnovers at 3.6, which is second worst for forwards, and he only makes 1.2 threes a game, which is outside the top 50. All right, so even if you decide to go this route, it's an interesting set of compliments that I have where you could win your league in a completely different way. And by doing that would be to target players like Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond with your second and third round picks, because they're going to help you in your field goal percentage, defensive categories, rebounds, assist, not so much points, but they're also going to significantly just kill your free throw percentage, which would be fine. Because if you draft any one of these three, including Capella, who I forgot to put on this list, Zion, Draymond Green, if you take any of those guys, like, you're pretty much punting, maybe not with Draymond because his volume would be low, but the rest of them, you're basically going to be punting free throws anyway. So you might as well just try and stick to getting guys, defensive guys, with high upside in other categories. Now, let's see. I also put Russell Westbrook on here because he's a good triple-double guy, first off. He doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but he does give you a good amount of steals. And if memory serves me correctly, I think he gets like 0.8 blocks per game, which is awesome for a point guard. And his free throw percentage, while it's not the worst thing in the world, it's not great either. It was like projected to be, or maybe last year it was like 75%. And his field goal percentage won't be great, but if you put the Greek Freak with Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond and Capella and all those guys and Zion, like, you're not going to worry about having one guy have a low field goal percentage. I put Bam on here because he will give you a little bit of everything: good rebounds, good assists. He doesn't shoot threes, but he'll give you some defensive categories. Not a lot of points either, but you'll still be competitive in points. Just won't be top notch. Let's see. I also put CJ McCollum on here, which he shoots good for good free throws, but he also is good in field goal percentage. He'll give you some threes, make you at least not terrible at threes, along with some assists, some rebounds, some steals, some points. And that's kind of how it would go with, well, actually I won't, so I'll just talk about them now. So then you have Sabonis, which would be a really interesting pairing because Sabonis, I don't know how he does it, but he gets a lot of rebounds. He gets good assists, and he's pretty good with steals. You'd like to see some blocks from him, but that's just not his game. He's averaging free throws, but he'll increase the value of your field goal percentages as well. Next up, I have De'Aaron Fox, mainly because he'll give you like 1.7 steals a game. Now his what do you call it? Field goal percentage will be average, and it'll hurt you a little bit, but For point guards, 45% is not the worst thing in the world. Now, moving on to the later rounds, I would target the DeJounte Murray, Horford, Inglis, Ibaka. I would even give Delon Wright a try, Larry Nance, and Jeremy Grant, who's also going to be starting for the Pistons. All these guys are going to be in the 10th round or later, but can blend really well with Giannis. Moving on to number 6, I have Kevin Durant. And I know what you're thinking. He tore his Achilles last year. He hasn't played in 18 months. What am I thinking? Well, before he did that, he was a top 5 player guaranteed, and he was one of those players where he was, back then, before he got hurt, he was the only player in the league where he helped you in every single category. There wasn't a weakness. If he could get back to that, why wouldn't he be number 6? Now, I'm not going to go over his stats too much because these are the projections of ESPN for 21-21 season. And I personally think, like his points, I think that those are going to be higher. His percentages have always been good, and they're always going to help. He gets good blocks for a small forward, good rebounds, good assists. I would like to see the threes go up, good turnovers, and I'd like to see him get like a steal a game. Now, literally anyone can compliment him. Like, it's hard not to when you help in every single category. I think he will. But I did put some names on here just so you can get an understanding of who you might want to target to pair up with Kevin Durant. The first one on the list is Donovan Mitchell, which is going to be about a 3rd rounder because he's going to get you a lot of points. He's going to get you good rebounds for a shooting guard, and he's going to get you some assists for a shooting guard. And he's going to shoot you a lot of threes. So even if KD's threes remain about 2 a game, Donovan Mitchell is going to help you increase your threes, and he's going to give you good percentages. Maybe not field goal percentage, but free throws, definitely. And same thing goes with Murray. I would imagine the same thing goes with CP3, except for the threes. He's going to give you pretty good rebounds, good assists. I'm hoping he'll get you like a steal and a half a game and get you like 15 points. I also have DeAndre Ayton, who's going to be a 3rd/4th round pick in your draft. And the reason I have him is because he's going to be good in both percentages. He's not going to give you any threes, but he's going to kill it in rebounds. He'll give you a little bit of assist, but he'll also be helpful, just like Durant is in the defensive categories. And last year, Ayton had 19 points a game, and I don't see why he can't go over 20, especially with Chris Paul at the point guard position this year. Vukovic would be the next up on the list, which is going to be a 4th round pick right after Ayton and probably right after Bam as well. And across the board, he's going to help in most categories, except for a center. You want to see more blocks from your center position, but he's going to give you good percentages. He might even give you a 3 or so. Good rebounds, not good with assists, but he'll get you a solid amount of points as well. John Collins, who should go about the 5th round in your draft, he's going to be an interesting one. He should give you good percentages, good rebounds, and a solid amount of points, and maybe even a 3 here or there. Zach LaVine would be right after Collins, who is a lot like Donovan Mitchell. He's going to give you a lot of points, a good portion of rebounds and assists for a 2 guard. He'll give you threes just like Mitchell, and he'll shoot well from the floor in both field goal percentage and free throw percentage for a 2. To round out this part of the list would be LaMarcus Aldridge. He's probably like one of the most boring players to watch, but good percentages, going to get you rebounds, maybe a couple of assists, maybe a steal, maybe a block, and a good amount of points, good source of points. In deeper leagues, just like every other deeper league list we've gone over so far, I got to put Murray in there. Colin Sexton would be good because last year he gave you 23 and 3 and pretty decent percentages for a point guard. And he's still young, he's still growing. His game can get a lot better. You have Fournier, who can do the same thing in the terms of getting you good points, threes, maybe an assist or 2, maybe a couple of rebounds, pretty good percentages. Next up would be Christian Wood, which I'm not sure what to expect from him exactly. But he's going to give you good percentages, good rebounds, good points. Bogdanovic will give you probably like 16, 3 and 3. Good percentages, at least good free throw percentage. Maybe not the best field goal percentage, but maybe he will. Robinson's going to be on the list, and he's going to give you basically about what the rest of these players are going to give you in terms of Robinson, Harrison Barnes, Seth Curry, Jordan Clarkson. They're all going to give you some variation of points, a few assists, a few rebounds, a couple threes, and fairly good percentages for their respective positions. And then some undrafted players I also have. Whatever happened to Will Barton? With Jeremy Grant gone from Denver, he may step into a nice complementary role in Denver again. Then you also, to round this out, you have Norman Powell. I can't pronounce this next guy's name, Balika, and then Kennard to round out the deeper leagues list. Now at number 5, I have Steph Curry, who also missed all of last season. Now, just like KD, I'm just going to go over on 2021 ESPN projections. And projections say he's going to have a good amount of threes at 4.6, 27 points per game, 5.7 assists, 1.5 steals, and 5.2 rebounds, while shooting very good for a point guard at 92% free throws and 48% from the field, which is awesome. Now, his turnovers, not necessarily a weakness, but I just put it down there, which would be 2.9. If he averages that, that would be great. And for a point guard, you don't expect him to get a lot of blocks. So anything out of that category is just a win. So if you draft Steph Curry, you want to try and focus on players that make threes, get you a lot of points, assists, shoot well from the floor in both percentage areas, and help you in steals. And players that will complement you in those categories would be Kawhi Leonard, which I'm not going to go over because I've been going over him. Kyrie Irving would blend in really well with him. Siakam, first time he's made a list, he'll give you like 24 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, maybe just over a steal, maybe a block, maybe a 3. He'll help you in both shooting categories as well. So that'd be a really nice pickup. In the third round, Donovan Mitchell, I just went over him. Same thing with Bradley Beal. Chris Middleton, who shoots well from the floor, will get you like maybe 2 threes a game, pretty average in rebounds and assists, and get you a lot of points. John Collins, who shoots well from the floor, good rebounds, good steals, pretty decent defensively. Robert Covington, whose only difference is he'll get you good defensive stats, but he'll shoot a lot of threes, good field goal, good free throw percentage, and he can go off and get you a lot of points on any given night. And to round out the first part of the list would be Devontae Graham, who we've already talked about, but I'll go over again. Poor field goal percentage, but good free throws, a lot of threes, good amount of assists, decent points, maybe maybe a steal and a half. And in the later rounds, I would target Mark Cannon, who had a very poor year last year, but at the 11th round, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him there. Kevin Love is also on this list. Fournier, Bogdanovic, Bertans, Duncan Robinson, Dylan Brooks, Herder, Curry, Joe Harris, and Kendrick Nunn would round this out, which basically most of these guys are just to help bulk up any 3-point weakness you might have from a different player. Moving on to number 4, we have Anthony Davis. Now, AD played 34 minutes a game last year, which was his 7th long forward, and played all 62 games. And his last game played was October 11th. It does feel like a short amount of time ago where he played. And he's only getting 71 days off, just like LeBron James, which is why he wasn't on my list. But the reason why AD is on my list is because of his strengths. Second in the NBA in blocks at 2.5 blocks a game. shoots the ball 84.5% from the free throw line, which is second among power forwards with at least 3 attempts per game. And his volume is 7th in the NBA. So he's going to impact that free throw percentage mightily. Also, he's scoring 26 points a game, which is more than LeBron, and that's second among forwards, along with 1.4 steals, which is 4th among forwards, 2.5 turnovers a game, which is 38th worst, tied for 38th worst among the whole NBA, which is awesome. Now, his field goal percentage is at 51%, which is 7th among forwards with over 8 field goal attempts per game. And he's at a volume that is 18th in the NBA. So that's very good also. Now, I personally would like to see a little bit more in the rebound category. Like just a double digits would be awesome. He's still 7th among forward, 22nd in the NBA. Still really good. But if I got that, like that would just boost him up ever so slightly, you know? But that's why he's 4th for me. And he's average at assists, which is 22nd. His 3.1 is 22nd for forwards, tied for. And his 3-point, sometimes he'll give you a 1.1 threes a game. It's outside the top 50 for forwards, so it's not the best, but it's, I'll take it from him. He helps you in every other category that I'm not going to make that a weakness because it's something. You get 1 or 2 a game from him. That's awesome. Players that would complement him really well would be Jason Tatum, which his ADP is a little bit high for me. I know Kemba Walker is injured to start the season, but he's not going to be injured all season. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen come playoff time, but he'll probably be playing in playoff time. So I can't justify the 12th overall ADP for Tatum, but he'd be an awesome complement to Anthony Davis. Now, we've talked about Kyrie Irving before. We've talked about Westbrook. Both guys will help in most categories, except Westbrook won't give you a lot of threes. Kyrie won't help you in field goal percentage. Ayton would be really good put it with him to bulk up on the rebounds. Ayton would also help you in points and blocks and field goal and free throw percentages. Or at least he won't hurt you in the free throw percentage. Jamal Murray, who seems like he's on every list, so I'm going to pass off him. LaMarcus Aldridge would be a really good number 2 power forward if you decide to go that route, which would be in about the 5th round. De'Aaron Fox, who shoots a good field goal percentage, not the best free throw percentage for a point guard, but still a good free throw percentage. And he won't give you a 3, but he'll boost up assist and assist and steals, and he should get you a good amount of points. Robert Covington should be on this list, and he should help you in both defensive categories and help boost up that 3-point category. And he'll get you some points. He'll hurt your field goal percentage a little bit, but he'll help with the free throw percentage. And the last player on the first part of this list would be Valanciunas, who's going to help you in both percentage categories, rebound, blocks, and he'll get you some points as well. In the later rounds, I think Brook Lopez would be a really good target if you draft Anthony Davis and really boost up that block category, because Lopez is going to get you like 2.4 blocks a game. Not going to get a lot of rebounds, but he's a really weird player because he's going to get you 2.5 threes a game, 2.5 blocks a game, but he'll only get you like 5 rebounds a game. And it's just so weird. And he's going to give you good percentages as well. So he would be a really good complement to Anthony Davis, along with Christian Wood, PJ Washington, which is the first time we will talk about him. I don't know too much about him because he was just a rookie last year. He's a rookie on Charlotte. But he's probably going to get you some points, some rebounds, and decent defensive categories, along with pretty decent percentages. Alfred Payton would be good to take here. He's like a little triple-double guy, point guard. Not the best at percentages, but he doesn't shoot a large volume in either field goals or free throws. And to round it out would be Crowder and OG, who's also young. He's on Toronto, and he could have a very impactful season. Moving on to number 3, which would be Karl-Anthony Towns. He averaged 33.9 minutes a game last year, which was only 33rd in the NBA, but 3rd among centers. Now, he only played 35 games last year, which is kind of worrisome. I'm kind of thinking, is he injury prone? He's kind of been missing time every year. And last year he missed it. He missed time with a left wrist fracture. And his last game played was February 10th, which was approximately 10 months ago. So coming into the season, he should be fully healthy and fully prepared, ready to go. And I honestly, after 10 months, I expect him to have developed a new skill, whether it's blocks, getting better defensively with that, or steals, or just shooting the ball better overall. But let's just get into his strengths right now. So his points are 26.5 a game, which is 11th in the NBA. First among centers, which is really good. That's what we want to see. Now his rebounds a game is 10.8, which is 11th in the NBA, which is nice. 9th among centers, which is not so nice. Like you want your top center to be able to out rebound your opponent, especially if he's a first round pick. So even though it's a strength, I want to say that needs to get better. I want to see like 12 rebounds a game from him. But what makes him so valuable is the 3.3 threes a game he will give you, which is tied 8th in the NBA, first among centers by far. Another reason it makes him so valuable is his 4.4 assists per game. Now that's not close to JOKIC, but it's still 3rd among centers. And this is kind of like a misleading stat again, because if you're just looking at stats and you're looking through each player individually and not understanding what's going on, you're going to see 4.4 assists and you're just going to blow it off because that's 49th in the NBA. That's not that great, but he's 3rd among centers, which means he's going to be in that category in assist. He's going to beat the other center unless it's JOKIC or Bam. Moving on, he's going to get you a steal almost every game, which is awesome. He's tied for 8th among centers in that category, and for his free throw percentage, it's almost at 80%, which is 4th among centers. And his volume at 6.5 is 16th in the NBA, entire NBA, which is very good. You want that. But I would also like to see his free throw percentage rise a little bit, even though it's already great for a center, don't get me wrong. I'd like to see it a little bit better. Now, something he's averaging is his field goal percentage. And the reason why is because, again, just like assist, it's a misleading stat. Like you look at 51% and you're like, oh, that's really good. And it is, especially when you're shooting almost 18 times a game, which is 21st in the NBA. The problem with that is his 51% is only 11th among centers with over 8 field goal attempts per game. So it's good and it's going to help you. Just like his free throws are going to help you. But he's not always going to win that category against the other center. As a matter of fact, like he's not even in the top 10. So that's why it's only like an average category in my eyes. Moving on to his weaknesses. Excuse me. Moving on to his weaknesses. First one would be turnovers at 3.1. It's second worst for centers. A little bit too high for me. Tied for 15th worst in the NBA. And you don't want to see that from your center. That's a lot. Next up would be blocks. Only 1.2. And now I know he's not the most athletic player, but there's I still feel at his size, he should be able to boost his block percent, his blocks from 1.2 maybe up to like 1.5 maybe, because right now he's tied for 25th among centers, that's really bad. And I guess that's it in terms of his weaknesses. Now his compliments would be Kawhi Leonard, who we've already talked about, Kyrie we've talked a lot about, Siakam would be a good blend in terms of points, rebounds, and assists, and Siakam, I believe he'll get you like a 3 a game maybe, so he'll help boost in that regard and give you good percentages. Then you also have Donovan Mitchell, Bradley Beal, Jamal Murray, which is all kind of like the same player, going to give you a hefty amount of points, good rebounds, good assists. They're going to jack up threes, maybe not the best field goal percentages by them, not the worst, not the best, but also give you good free throw percentages. Chris Paul will be on the list. You get him about the 5th round. Tobias Harris, which is new. You get him about the 6th round, good percentages, get you like a 3.5 a game, decent rebounds for a forward, and good amount of points. Probably get you 20 points a game. John Collins is on the list. He'll get you good percentages, good rebounds, like good blocks, and 20 points, maybe more per game. CJ McCollum falls into the Mitchell, Murray, and Beal group. Van Fleet will fall into, I guess, no, he is new. I guess poor in the field goal percentage, good free throws, a lot of threes, good amount of assists, decent rebounds, a fair amount of points. And then Robert Covington, which a lot of threes, a lot of good on the defensive category lines, and decent amount of points and good free throws. Now in the later rounds, I'd like to target Jaren Jackson, who is injured right now, but he'll give you a decent amount of points, good amount of threes, and good amount of blocks, which is something that Anthony Towns does not give you. Colin Sexton, 23-3 guy last year, good percentages. Then we have Love, who we've talked about already, Ibaka, we've talked about, Fournier, Gordon Hayward. Now I have him in the later rounds because I don't believe he's going to have a great year in Charlotte, but he can very well be the #1 option and lead the Bobcats all the way to the playoffs. And if he does that, he's going to play all year round. I expect not the Bobcats, the Hornets. And I hate that they keep changing the names back and forth. But anyway, he could easily give you 25 and 5 with good percentages and like a 3.5 a game, and like a steal, maybe even a steal and a half a game. Next up on the list is Derrick Rose, who's going to get you a lot of points, some assists, good at free throws, and pretty decent in the 3-point category, which is exactly right up Bogdanovich's alley in the terms of threes a game. Same thing with Robinson, and let's see, Thomas Bryant's on the list because of he's like a small double-double guy, points and rebounds, good percentages. Dragic's on the list because he's going to give you decent rebounds, pretty good assists, a fair amount of points, probably like 50 points a game, and good percentages. And Harrison Barnes will also be probably like a 15 to 17 points a game and close to like 4 rebounds, 4 assists, good percentages, but won't help you in the defensive categories. All right, moving on to number 2, Luka Doncic, who averaged 33 minutes a game last year, which was tied for 37th in the NBA. I'd like to see that get to 37. Imagine his numbers if he gets like 37. Oh, excuse me again. Imagine his numbers if he gets like 37 minutes a game. He's young, so he can do it. And he also played 61 games last year. And his last game played was August 30th, so he got 114 days off, which is just about right in terms of an NBA offseason. Now, his strengths are points, which he averaged 28.5 last year, which is 6th in the NBA. 3-pointers made, which was 2.8, which was tied for 19th in the NBA, and tied for 14th in the guards, and tied for 7th in the forwards. Now, what really makes him valuable is his 9.4 rebounds, which was 1st among guards, if that's where you're slotting him, and he was tied for 22nd in the NBA in that regard. And his assists also make him valuable, like his points, rebounds, and assists. combined make him so valuable, along with the threes. So his assists are at 8.7, which was fourth in the NBA, second among forwards, next to LeBron James. Now his average stats, which if he improves in these, he's gonna. I mean, I don't even think his stock can improve any more than it already has. But if he improves these, it's game over. And that is his free throw percentage, which was he's 75.5% last year, which was average. He's not going to kill you in that category, but he's not going to help you in that category. And you want that because he shoots a lot of them. He's fourth in the NBA in 9.1 free throws attempted. That's a lot. You want, if you're going to have a first round pick shoot that many free throws, you want him to help in that category. And then you have field goal percentage at 46%, which is also average. Not going to kill you, not going to help you, but just like free throw percentage, he shoots a lot. Sixth in the NBA in field goals made. Excuse me, field goals attempted. I mixed that up. And that's sixth in the NBA in field goals attempted at 20.4, which is a lot. You probably want to see it a little bit better, but I mean, I know what he does. He's an all-around player. He plays at the guard position, and 46% for a guard is really good. Now, his weaknesses are on the defensive end, which I'm hoping he improves this offseason, and he needs to be more careful with the ball. So his defensive categories, both outside the top 50 in each, and that sucks. You want better. You need to get better out of him this year, and he'll earn this number 2 spot with improving at least steals. If he can get you a steal and half a game, that's going to be a strength. So he's not that far away. He can do it. And like I was just talking about, his turnovers at 4.2 a game, fourth worst in the NBA. He needs to have better decision making. Now, some compliments would be Russell Westbrook, which is also another triple-double monster. Imagine having those two guys on the same team. That would be hell for opponents. Donovan Mitchell, which is, even though he's not a triple-double monster, still going to give you like 25, 5, and 5. Bam is on this list because it's going to give you good rebounds, very good in assists, good amount of points, and shoots the ball well. De'Aaron Fox is on this list because good points, good assist, decent rebounds, good in the steals, which will pick up Luka's weakness, fair amount of threes, and good percentages. Now, next up on the list, which is, it's John Wall. Now, I think grabbing him in the 8th round, it's high risk, high reward. That's what John Wall is going to be this year. We have no idea what's going to happen. At first, he was on Washington, and the GM, Thomas Shepard, said he's going to get limited minutes, and he's not going to play back-to-backs. Now he's in Houston after the Westbrook trade, and I have no idea what they're doing. They kind of seemed like they're about to tank this year, and then they made some moves to better the team, like by signing Wood and Cousins, and now getting Wall. I don't know what to expect from this team this year, and I don't know what to expect from Wall, because even if he does play, and even if he gets a lot of minutes this year, he could just as easily get hurt, even more so now that he's torn his Achilles. Next up is Nurkic. Now, he missed last season, basically. I think he only played like five games last year. He broke his leg, he came back, and he instantly got put right into the games. No like limit restriction or anything. So that was promising. I personally can't think right now of Nurkic's stats, but I do know he's going to help you in points, percentages, rebound, and assists. I don't know about threes and the defensive categories. I'm pretty sure he's good with blocks as well. Maybe like 0.0 or 0.8 steals is what I'm thinking. I'm hoping. But I'm not quite sure. Moving on to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This guy drafted in the 4th round, 3rd-year pro, he could have an outstanding year this year, especially now that Chris Paul's gone and he's going to be the primary ball handler. And not only that, there's no one else on Oklahoma City who else is going to shoot the ball. This could be a big year for Gilchrist Alexander, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has one. Next up on the list is Chris Middleton, who gives you good percentages, so he'll boost Luka's percentages, and that's a good way to complement Luka. And he'll also give you a lot of points, good in rebounds, good in assists, and maybe like a steal here or there. Sabonis would round out the first part of the list, which you get in the 5th round. And he would be a very good addition because he's going to get you a solid amount of points, very good in rebounds, and he'll get you more assists than you realize. Not so much in the defense categories, just like Luka. So he's just like Luka in all those regards. And I don't think he shoots any threes, but he's good with the percentages. So moving on to the deeper leagues, or I should say later rounds. You have Jaren Jackson, which we just talked about on the last player. Markelle Fultz, who can have a big year. Like, he's had such a weird year that, or excuse me, not a weird year, a weird career that last year kind of felt like it was his first season in the NBA, like his rookie season, just getting his feet wet. So it's going to be interesting to see how much he improves coming into this season now that he's going to be a starter in Orlando. Next up is Ibaka, Ingles, Delon Wright, Duncan Robinson, and to round it out, Larry Nance. And I feel like we've talked more or less about all those players in this video already. And number one, surprise, surprise, James Harden. Last year, he had 37 minutes per game, which was second in the NBA, and played all 68 of his games. His last game played was September 12th, which leads to 101 days off, which is about a typical NBA offseason. Now, what makes James Harden number one is all of his strengths. He has 2, 4, 6, 7 strengths, and only 2 weaknesses. His strengths include points per game, which is 34 points per game, which is first in the NBA. Free throws at 86%, which is excellent. And the reason why this is so valuable is because he shot almost 12 free throws a game, which was by far first in the NBA. Another reason why he's so valuable, he was first in threes in the NBA at 4.4. It'll get you a lot of steals as well. 1.7, tied for 6th in the NBA and tied for 5th among guards. Hell, even his blocks. Like, people have all these memes about James Harden, but he gets you almost a block every game, which is 3rd among guards. Good statistics, defensive statistics in steals and blocks. Like, moving on. So his assists are also very good, which is 7.4, 9th in the NBA, 8th among guards, and 1st in shooting guards, which is important because, like, you expect point guards to have 7 or more assists a game, but among shooting guards, which is what he is, he's by far first, which is another reason why he's so valuable. And his rebounds, 6.4 a game, which is 6th among guards and 2nd among shooting guards. Now, his weaknesses are field goal percentage, which is 43%, but he shoots a lot. He shoots the most in the NBA, tied for first in terms of volume at almost 23 a game. And, I mean, if you're going to shoot that much, you're going to wear out, and that's why his percentage is so low. And I would like to see him cut down a little bit on the turnovers at 4.5, which is 2nd worst in the NBA next to Trae Young. But even still, he is still, in my eyes, the number one player you want on your team this year. And it's going to be very hard not to compliment James Harden as long as, honestly, I put compliments, but now that I think about it, I probably should put the players you shouldn't draft with James Harden, which would consist of, like, the Greek Freak. And everyone I said on the Greek Freak for the Greek Freak's compliments, I would stay away from with James Harden. I would stay away from Drummond, Ben Simmons, Clint Capella, Zion. Stay away from all those guys you don't want them on your team because he is so good and helps you so much in the free throw percentage that you can make up by not drafting those guys by drafting other guys. And those include, you can get Joel Embiid in the second round, Kyrie in the second or third round, Levine in the 4th/5th round, John Collins in the 5th round, Chris Paul in 3rd or 4th round. Excuse me, 4th or 5th round. That's what I meant to say. Bogdanovic in the 9th round. Porzingis, which I know he's injury prone, but that's why he's so low. You get him in the 6th round. Buddy Hield, who's going to help with the threes and the points. And he also gives low percentages. Low field goal percentages. Same thing with Devontae Graham, but he'll give you assists at least and a lot of threes. Jaren Jackson will give you a lot of, when he gets healthy, a lot of threes, good percentages, decent rebounds, fair amount of points. Kevin Love would be an awesome complement with James Harden along with Mark Cannon. Now in deeper leagues, I would try and target Duncan Robinson, Tim Hardaway, Kevin Huerter, Seth Curry, Jordan Clarkson, Joe Harris, or Kendrick Nunn. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you've if you feel like this video has helped you, because in return that'll help me. Alright guys, thank you and have a good